Welcome to the wonderful, splendiferous world of Clink. I am your host, Colonel Clink, and you are watching a WoW Tactics video. So, what are we looking at today? Well, we are looking at Scarlet Monastery. Scarlet Monastery is an infamous instance from classic WoW, having 4 separate instances within it, so 4 separate wings, running all the way from level 26 to, what was it, 45. Yeah, 26 through to 45, which is that's a big level gap. It also has a huge amount of loot, which is great to do. So this little group I sort of started to form mainly because I need to do Run Graveyard. This is probably going to be the last time I run Graveyard. I think that's a good time to get a video of it. Graveyard is the earliest wing, it's the easiest wing. There's only 2 bosses in it, and they drop basically regular. They drop they don't really have a selection of loot they just drop specific items. So that's the plan anyway. So we've actually got a whole bunch of mages, so we'll probably be, I'm hoping, once the warrior starts pulling, a group of them and just nuke them down. So, SM is what I would call one of the sort of first instances you really need to learn how to do crowd control, control the mobs, which I talked about a lot in my Dead Mines video. Noma, yes, is one as well, but Noma's just a little bit... Noma's tricky because it's more about positioning and pulling less mobs. SM is largely these big corridors with a couple of larger rooms throughout. So it's sort of got both elements, and the corridors you need to kill everything within the corridors, unlike Noma where you can sort of skip half of them. So that's sort of where the difference lies. And it does sort of teach you, well, there's a lot of different little sort of minor encounters that you sort of got to get used to. A lot of the bosses have their own, all the bosses, save the ones in Graveyard, have a number of little tricks to them. Cathedral, notably, the last boss actually is resurrected by another boss, and then you've got to fight both of them at the same time. It's all fun. So this warrior sort of knows what he's doing. He's telling us to sheep pull. We're pulling 3, so again we don't get overloaded. Even though we probably could take 4, 3 is a good number. 3 is a good number. Help out there by Frost Novering. So we've got 3 mages, so we've got a ton, and they're all Frost Mages. So we've got a ton of crowd control available to us. A lot of DPS, as well as AoE. Just drop in blizzards, nuking, and then by the time the poly's worn off, you kill all mobs, and that's a perfect pull. That is an absolutely perfect pull there. The healer still has half mana, so the healer has not been massively pushed for mana usage, and you're in a good position to continue. So it's nicely done. So there's been a couple of changes. I should point out as well, the tank here is pulled while the healer is drinking, but he's fine. So he knows his abilities. I mean, these guys would be greys to him, so he knows what he's doing. Just going to use Evocation to get my mana back rather than drinking to speed up the run. So there's been a few changes to my character since we last saw him. So I will be doing some of the earlier instances, but I'll probably be doing them on Pally. So I'll be showing them off. So main one is, which show. So I have fully gotten Shatter now, so anything that's frozen I get a 50% crit chance. I've got Ice Shards up to level 4 and I'll be getting up to level 5 next level, and that increases my critical damage by, well, double once I've got all the abilities, plus 100%. So that is an enormous damage boost when critting, and against regular mobs I chain crit. It's virtually crit, because 50% crit, so it's not a 50% crit chance, it's a 50% bonus crit chance. I still have my regular crit chance, which would be pretty decent. I've got a high intellect. My intellect is pretty good for my level. I've managed to sort of just push my intellect at the expense of my stamina. So that's really good. I just crit, which we'll probably see a little bit of in a sec. The other thing is I've got access to Mage Armor. So Mage Armor is... it's generally the armor you want to be using pretty much throughout... oh, sorry. Mage Armor is generally the one you want to be using for endurance runs. So it's great for instancing. It's great for raids. There are some times you do not want to use it. The Fire Armor gives you crit chance, 3% crit chance, and that actually works better for Frost Mages because you want to be critting. What Mage Armor does is increases your resistances and gives you 30% mana regen. So for ones where you need to have high resistance on raid bosses and so on, you drop Mage Armor. Ones which you need endurance, you drop Mage Armor because that's what it gives you. Ones that you just have DPS race, so you need to crit to death, you use the Fire Armor. Frost Armor is really just for leveling. Frost Armor and PvP. Frost Armor is not really that great for a lot of other instances and so on, simply because you shouldn't be getting hit. If you're getting hit, you're probably doing something wrong. So you shouldn't need armor, you shouldn't need people. You shouldn't need people attacking you to freeze them or anything like that. But silly if you are. So we're just pulling pretty slowly here. It's sort of just got undead. You can just walk up the path and pretty much annoy everything. They are dropping curses, but again we've got 3 mages, so we're able to evade the curses. Dispel them without any problems. There's no real tricks to these guys above anything else. If you can go and just start pulling everything if you wanted to. It's a pretty easy instance. You can even, like, mages can, and a Frost Mage can pretty much solo this, except for the bosses, without too many problems. So there's a crit and a crit, and he's dead. So by firing off that Fire Blast, or that right after my Frostbolt is finishing casting, it hits them while they're still frozen. Because normally when you hit them while they're frozen, they will break out of the ice. So you want to, and also because it's often it's a 3-second freeze, I believe. So the casting of Frostbolt generally will be the end of the frost. By getting the Fire Blast in there, you're guaranteeing your chances of getting another hit in with a potential chance of a high potential chance of a crit. That's what you want. You want to be critting. That's how it works with Mage, Frost Mage. And probably the only thing is you just got to worry a little bit about your threat. I mean, I've got the threat meter here, but no one's there. DPS wise, doing pretty fine. Amosi is doing slightly higher than me. I feel like I gave my bread to the wrong person. I'm pretty sure I gave him to Biram. So Mosi is 1 level higher than me, and he's got 2 extra DPS. So that's pretty telling, really, when you look at it. So there's not a whole lot of difference in this case. We would both be spec'd very similar. Chain their abilities. So 1 Frost Novas, they all kind of cold, they all get bonus crit chance. It's ridiculous. they were not elites, but still. Money. So Graveyard for Alliance is, again, it's not generally done. It's done for the little bits of loot and money and so on. There's no quest for Alliance here. Horde there is, but not for Alliance. So, Lawminer's Dungeon, essentially, we went through the torture chambers of the Scarlet Crusade. So the Scarlet Crusade are militant, they're incredibly militant holy warriors who are fighting against the Scourge of Undeath. Kingdom of War is completely taken over by the Undead. However, it's split into two separate factions. You've got the Forsaken, which are like undead who've managed to regain control of their minds, so they're essentially independent citizens, and they've formed the Forsaken, led by Sylvanas Windrunner in the Undercity, and then you've got the Scourge, who are all being controlled by the Lich King. Or just wandering around murdering things. So the Scarlet Crusade was sort of built to fight the undead. They don't really discriminate between the Forsaken undead and the Scourge, and they've sort of turned into sort of the Inquisition at some level. That's the caricature of it.
No rest for the angry dead.
I can't cast that yet.
So this guy is immune to being frozen, but I can still just pump out DPS on him. Yeah, he's dead. Boom. Now it all comes down. Is anyone else good? No! Oh, come on. Please tell me that Pally's not going to roll me on that. Is always the difficulty when you're trying to run a group for yourself and you get cloth wearers because you're going to be fighting over the same loot. Comes down to luck sometimes. I mean, I got so this is my dagger that I got, and basically I want to get an offhand for it, and that orb is generally the one you want to use. Together they give you, I think it's plus 14 spell damage or plus 15 spell damage. I mean, I could shell out some money on the auction house to get, like, something to put in the offhand. I mean, this was actually an upgrade of the staff I had. Like, it's actually better than the staff I had. Or had. I've sold it now. So I've got a couple of quests in here. That's the main reason. So a lot of people don't want to just do Graveyard. So I was going to say, we'll just do Graveyard quickly, get the loot. I mean, what I could have done, I guess, was sort of like go through and go, he's only got stuff, that's all he needs a massive. So this is library is sort of when stuff starts to get red. You can see there's lots of different mobs up ahead in rows. It's very easy to pull multiple if you sort of charge upwards, so you want to pull them back. This takes take the next step and actually pull it into the tunnel. Doing a line of sight pull, which is again nice moves. Oh yeah, I know, I got 20. Cool. Start to get mage weak as well. That's the one issue about critting. You can pull aggro. I mean, using Sundering past 1. I feel like I don't see a lot of tanks of Sundering past 1. I'm not sure if I've made a mistake and it's actually a talent you need to get to do it or something. I've debated about throwing him to the warrior just to see. Warriors suffer the problem that they've got no way of healing themselves. So generally speaking, you run up, you murder some dudes, and then you have to eat. Mages sort of have the same problem and they need to drink, but you've generally got a lot of other mana replenishment abilities, so it's less of an issue, and you also don't need to buy food.
That's still recharging. Enchanting. Enchanting is unfortunately quite hard to level. It's not the easiest because you sort of need to basically eat your magical items, which you often want to sell. You can sort of offer it, but generally speaking I've found that there are other enchanters higher level than me who I'm competing with, which makes it a little harder. Tailoring I'm doing pretty good. I'm starting to fall a little behind in tailoring, but I should be right. Mainly just because I need to run an instance to get the cloth. I haven't been killing things that drop cloth. That's still recharging.
So the first boss of this dungeon is in the library. The Houndmaster. Why the Houndmaster is in front of the library, you don't know. So the library is where they sort of keep all their forbidden knowledge and stuff. The graveyard is where they all turn their dead, either forsaken or their own troops. And essentially the graveyard has sort of come to life a little bit because all the undead death and plague seem in the area. So undeath in Warcraft is caused by a plague. It's not caused by, like, when you raise people from undead, you're generally using the plague to raise them. At least you're raising specifically. It's sort of a bit... It's a little bit unclear sometimes. Sometimes necromancers just seem to be raising them, whether they're raising the plague or they can just raise skeletons. I don't think it's ever been specifically confirmed. Might check that out in WoW Wiki at some point. I should probably drink. Couldn't find that. I don't know if I missed the quest for it. It's another sort of early spell damage gear. They didn't, and again this is more from memory, I would have to go and research it to work out whether or not it's true. But from memory they didn't have a lot of spell damage gear when WoW first came out. It was mostly around your level 60 range for spell damage gear. When people started realising how good the spell damage gear was, Blizzard sort of rejigged it a little bit to make it easy to find, so people would actually sort of realise it as they were leveling, because a lot of people still had stat gear when they hit 60, and they just weren't dealing enough damage. Mages were sort of a joke, because they were essentially, well, they literally became water caddies because they just could not deal damage. Even warlocks had problems.
Release the hounds!
Mr. Burns reference, I believe. And here we're just going to nuke him down. This guy back. Really not certain about this group. Needing on random things.
Yo.
First grade healing potion.
why there is 28 mystery meat in my bags. I was doing some questing yesterday and collected quite a bit of it and decided I might as well keep it for cooking later up.
Still recharging.
Leveling cooking gives you access to food. Food might give you certain bonuses that you wouldn't normally, or that are a little bit, well, mainly just give you bonuses that you can use in raid groups and stuff like that. Classic WoW doesn't have any massively great recipes, mainly like stamina buffs and spirit buffs, but still, nothing to be sneezed at.
Still recharging. I need a target.
Don't target the poly. Ooh, she resisted my counter spell. It's not common.
I can't cast that yet.
So the issue there was the adept was healing her, so that's why he was polyed. Normally you would just kill the normally you would just kill him first, but that way means you can kill the diviner who deals the most damage, being the caster, and then you take, well, in this case we actually killed him first. Slightly off what you normally do. From memory, the gallants can do a stun. I think it's the gallants. Might be why the tank was wanting him first.
That's still recharging.
Normally you go healers, casters, melee when targeting people. Oh, 10 Master Lurk, so you don't need to kill Doan. So this is my quest. So I do get an orb through this quest, although this actually is worth a lot more money. So it comes down to, do I get an orb or do I just sell a dagger? The reason I want the other orb though is that it adds spell damage. It doesn't add any intellect, which is not a huge major issue, but like plus 15... skill-wise, it's a good group. What they're doing. So Konakold's main ability is its instant cast. It is not the most mana. I think it's the least mana efficient frost spell from memory. But it is an instant cast, so again allows for burst DPS, which when you've got frozen targets, if you can hit them with a frostbolt, a fire blast, and a frost, a kind of cold, it's somewhere. I mean, you've got 50% chance of crits on all of them. I do remember you have counter spells and mage, very important thing.
you got ways of interrupting casters and so on for any class, all classes have ways of doing it. Mages just can do against spellcasters really good. Well, if you've got ways of interrupting, always remember them, because if you can slow down the interrupts again, take some of the pressure off the healer, it might make the raid just like a couple of seconds faster, and all you're losing is like a couple of points of DPS. So he's doing LOS pulls, which is a really good way of doing this bit. Brings the casters out. That one's being a pain.
I can't cast that yet. I need a target. That spell.
The library can be a little bit of a slog. I wouldn't say it's as bad as some of the others. Armory, I think, is probably the worst slog. Wow. Cathedral, at least you've got a relatively nice looking outdoor area. Cathedral, unfortunately, you do need to pretty much clear the entire residence, which can be a bit tedious the more times you do it. It is well worth it for looting XP though, so it's why I want to do it.
That spell isn't ready.
I think I might for Graveyard. I'll just wait until I've got some guildies and just murder my
I
way
need
through it.
more mana.
One tank and a healer and we should be able to clear it. Well, that's an interesting, interesting guild invite there.
I can't cast that yet.
So I was reading up on the Battle for Azeroth yesterday. I haven't actually, I've never really looked into it much because I wasn't particularly interested after Legion. And didn't really, anything wasn't really grabbing me with, yet again, the Horde and Alliance at war with each other. I was interested to note that they've basically removed two of the starting cities. They've completely consolidated the Horde over Kalimdor, and then completely consolidated the Alliance over the Eastern Kingdoms. I'd be interested to see, I'd almost be interested to see exactly how that's changed some of the other towns, but it doesn't seem to have changed so much at all. It's just that Darnassus is gone. I'm assuming Darkshaw's probably, Darkshire and Ashenvale are probably gone, based on the law. And Lord Tristful Gullies are basically fallen to the Alliance, or to become utterly polluted. But it's a bit sad you can't even go to Darnassus anymore. It's literally just going to fly around a burnt tree.
stupidly flicked him over to me because I was on the wrong time. That was okay though, because I have Fire Shield and Fire Ward. Fire Shield, I call Fire Shield. D&D player. Force habit. The wards are like they're very much a situational spell, but if you got them and you just chuck them down really quickly, if you're being targeted by a mage or something, you can tank casters, and that's a really important ability to know. Because again, it means if there's a caster targeting a healer, just target them, get them for some crits, something there on you, drop a ward. You're not taking up any of the healer's time, and you're basically keeping the healer alive.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Frozen up. These guys have actually got the extra thing. Yeah, that's a ding for me.
That's still recharging.
And now we have 100% extra damage on my crits.
That spell isn't ready yet.
I was debating about whether I like spec as a fire mage or an arcane mage when I get to high level. Just as a, because everyone is a frost mage. See, that to me was an unnecessary shit. But hey. You do what the tank says. There we go. Jeez, look at that extra damage boost.
I can't handle it yet. Isn't ready. I don't have a target.
So this might reset it. So I was getting 57 DPS overall over the course of the run. Let's see how much I've increased. You do have to be a little careful when working at your DPS because ultimately, excuse me, just sorting out my drink. Breakfast. Sorry, meals are just hadn't eaten for the day. So,
That's still recharging.
DPS, you've got to be a little bit careful because AoE will sometimes increase your DPS a bit too much. What that means is normally most AoE spells work off 3 to 4 enemies and then they become mana efficient. So, for example, single target DPS is generally better if you've got 2 or what that means is if you've got less than 3 people and you say drop a blizzard, it's not going to deal as much damage as if you're doing single target. So your DPS is actually going to be down. However,
because the number of enemies cannot be under 0 or anything. You never can get sort of like an exponential, hey, your single target DPS is going to be way better. It comes down that your AoE, what instead happens is that the more enemies you have, your AoE becomes even more mana efficient. So when you've got like 10, 20 enemies, which do happen in some instances, if you drop an AoE, your DPS is going to go through the roof because you're hitting 20 enemies all for a big chunk of damage. So it's a little bit, it doesn't quite tell the full story. Let's go.
I can't cast that yet.
Damn, it keeps breaking. There you go. It's broken again. That's what I mean, it breaks when I hit it. There we go.
I need to target something first.
Now, Mage Book should be, that's it there. Oh. So that book is part of a convoluted quest chain for you to get your wand. So, sorry, that room was a little bit complicated. Just wanted to know. So this is what I sort of mean. It can get to be a bit of a slog at the end. You've got a lot of mobs. You need to clear pretty much all of them. Again, this is why I would say it's different to Noma, because Noma you don't need to do this. You can instead just pull what you need and avoid the rest. SM, Scarlet Monastery, you need to basically just murder everything.
That spell isn't ready. That's still recharging.
Alright, so Arcanist Stone. Arcanist Stone is probably he's the second easiest last boss. He's got 2 tricks though to him. So all of the bosses in SM have a few little tricks. As I said, one of them, the boss of Cathedral resurrects themselves. The boss in Armory has a spinning whirlwind attack that hits everyone, plus he's got a set of minions who come in to avenge his death,
You will not defile these mysteries.
which you're not often ready for. Doan has 2 major things with him. One, he's got a silence aura, which screws your casters, and 2, he's got a ridiculous AoE.
I can't cast that yet.
Burn away, little girl. Fire.
Run away.
Detonation. So basically you'd have to get out of line of sight with that or you die. Man, the healer died.
That spell.
He also casts Polymorph.
That's still recharging.
I'm drop a damn magic on him. Like a little bit of extra static power as we go.
Isn't ready.
And we're good. God damn it. And that's Stone Dead. Also a good point of don't panic.
It's too far away.
So all in all, pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to attempt Graveyard solo. One, to sort of show you how you can do it and probably fail miserably and show you how not to do it. But I should be the right level that I can do it without too many problems. 35 now. Whether or not I can take down Thalmos is a bit of a tricky question. shit biscuits. Sorry, social communication when we don't have access to various things. Oh crap. No, 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 no. It's not happening. Alright, so again, they're pretty easy to kill elites. This one's 5 levels lower than me. So I'm doing about 8% of their health crossbow, which is not great. But in theory,
That's still recharging.
that did a lot more.
I can't cast that yet. Isn't ready.
And let me do that. And they're dead. Cloth farming. Very good for gold farming as well. Should probably go do this stupid quest.
That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet.
Cone of Cold also has a much more powerful freeze effect, I should point out, than Frostbolt. So, also not freeze slow effect than Frostbolt. So it's often why it's a bit more versatile.
I can't cast that yet. I need
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get past the double mobs. Well, it depends on whether I can walk past them, but I think... See, if I can walk past them without aggroing them, I should be fine. What's Thalnos? Be 32. Might be alright. Okay. first. It's a pat. Alright, so they haven't aggroed. Okay, I should probably grab the pat because he will irritate me.
Isn't ready yet. Can't that yet. It's too far away. That spell isn't ready yet.
I think he's trying to run away, but he's got the bug somehow. He's not sure what to do. He's going, maybe if I stand here, he won't see me. Maybe he tracks movement like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Those people have said that probably is absolutely untrue, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex probably had really good eyesight. But anyway, moving on. Everything you've taught about dinosaurs is most likely incorrect, and you just got to go with that. So we're going to be... Nope, hold him. Barely doing any damage. That's not good. So exit the instance to drop aggro. And to go back in and try again. I'm pretty sure I can walk past it. And that's, again, that's what you want to do if you're trying to avoid all this stuff. And trying to solo it. You don't want to be killing mobs you don't need to. Try this again. Okay.
Tell me everything.
We'll pull those two. Alright. Where's the other one? Pull him.
That's still
Yep.
I can't cast that yet.
Good Shadow Word Pain. Of course it does. It's a torture.
Naughty secrets.
That's still recharging.
That has almost killed me. It is killing me.
Purge my pain.
I could try blinking past them. That's about the only other option I think I've got. I suppose I could kill the torturers and go through the other side. Oh, I've got one life on this difficulty. Thank you. Come on, come on. Alright, so what I'm going to try is map him. Will that come for me?
That spell isn't ready. I can't cast that yet. My mana is low. I need more mana.
Alright. Now my mana is back.
That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet.
And down. We were never in any real danger. Just a little bit. I can see myself getting out into the main courtyard and finding I just cannot survive. But we'll see how we go. Crap. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. So I probably just need to be about one level higher. I probably need them closer to grey for me, I think, because I'm noticing I am getting the occasional resistance. So it's a little bit tricky just as a cloth wearer, because if they hit you, you die. Like you're gonna die. It's not what you see every day, but hey, whatever. Oh no, I gave away its teleportation away. Oh crap. Yeah, always make sure you got extra rinse teleportation on you. Because, yeah, sometimes you need to get somewhere and you can't. And as a mage, that really sucks because you've generally got your Hearthstone in some completely out of the way place. Because you can do that and be able to still get to Ironforge Stormwind and everywhere. Which is what I've done. Welcome to Booty Bay. Anyway, that's it for this video. You've been watching The World of Glink. I'm your host, Colonel Glink. Hope you enjoyed looking at the first 2 areas of SM. I will be doing videos on the other 2 at some point. As in, strategy for these is not massively difficult. In this instance, we had someone who was showing exactly how you were meant to pull it and everything, which was great. So, yeah. Alright, take it easy, guys. This is Colonel Glink, signing off.